making more stuff so I can make more stuff. So I never thought that one of these things would actually be useful for me. And what I'm talking about is a re-spooler. Re-spooler so that you can take, maybe if you had like a spool that got messed up or something, and then re-spool it onto another spool. With the Bambu A1 series with the AMS, sometimes you get some brands like Sunlu or Yusun where they have larger diameter holes and they don't fit properly, which there's adapters and stuff that you can download and or make so that it will, which I've done, and I thought, well, that's all I really need. But the one thing I never really thought of is when it comes to when you're printing something like a production for something, you don't want to buy like 4 or 5 rolls to be able to get multiple printers going to print all the same thing out of the same material. I can keep some of the spools like this that fits on the MS properly with the right diameter hole, and I could just re-spool whatever I want onto it, which is actually quite handy. So I downloaded this cell spool winder. Anyway, I'll just show you. So this is the design that this gentleman made, or person, and I've got this off of Maker World, right? And there is the details, right? So you can look this up, right? It's called the cell spool winder, and it's free. It's just a download and open. There's not a file that you can physically download and keep. It's just so you can use it yourself, and he makes it absolutely free. So I have made my version. I just finished this big piece here on the A1, and of course here's all the other little pieces and gears and whatnot or whatever, right? So now I got to figure out how this thing goes together. Anyway, if you're looking for a spooling system for those purposes, this one looks really cool. So let's check it out. I'm going to assemble it and we'll see how it works. So I've got some of it together. It's looking pretty cool. I like the fact that I did it with the black and the white, and then I used a blue for just some parts. I don't know if I can spin this with just one hand, but it seems to work. And it has this little mechanism, which apparently I need to grab a little chunk of PTF tubing to stick in there. But as this spins, that thing moves, and it will wind everything all onto this. But I apparently forgot to print a couple things. So this is for the spool that goes here, but I forgot to print the part that actually goes through here. As well as I also forgot the feet. So these two little guys right now are going to print out the last 2 major components to this thing, and we'll give it a shot and see how it works. So if you haven't checked it out on Maker World, the guy that made this, one other thing that he did too, I don't know if you can see this or not, right there, come on, focus, right there. So it's kind of a little hexagon. So if you have just a straight piece for your drill, it fits into there. And then he made it so that the handle is actually just removable, right? And then you can put your drill into that. If you say have a whole roll to do, you'd be cranking with your arm forever. You'd be getting tired. So yeah, I'm kind of excited about this. I think it's going to look pretty good and work good. One of the current projects I'm working on right now, as you can see, there's all these multiple pieces here. This is for an old age home to hold their sanitizer containers on lifts. And we have a series of parts, right, that come together like this. right? And then this other part here. Of course, the nuts for the screws are embedded right into the plastic. We did a pause and did that right inside. Same thing with the ones that'll be in the second half of this, where those screws go. Right, and then those ones just go right through for tension, so it's adjustable. Alright, and then there's still another one just like this on the bottom here, which I haven't completed for this one yet. And I still have all of these guys to go. So I burnt through this spool. And this was actually PET G from Sunlu or Yusun, one of the two. Anyway, worked really well. Looks beautiful. Right, all the pieces, you know, nice and shiny, perfect. I did try, however. Now this is Bambu's new high flow PET G, and now I did a little short on it earlier, and it really didn't turn out well. And I even followed their instructions about making sure that it had dried and dried and dried and dried. There is the spool of it again, and it's been sitting at 55, 56 degrees now for almost 24 hours. Talking to another guy on that short, he said he's been using it for quite some time, and you know, he realized that it has a really, really, really bad tolerance for its absorption of water. And you know, okay, maybe, but I put it into my little box before and heated it for 8 hours. And when I put it in, it was actually sitting at 25% saturation or moisture level, right? And of course, it's been in there now for almost 24 hours, and that hasn't really changed. So is it that it has to be really well drained of all moisture, or does it have to be preheated? That's the question. Because the other thing is that Bambu says that it's supposed to be preheated for 8 hours at 65 degrees, and not all dryers go that high. Mine only go to 55, right? So it means I have to go spend another $100 on a dryer just to use this stuff. There'd have to be a really good reason. This stuff would have to be super amazing and better than all other PET G for me to have to go out of my convenience to do all of this prep in order just to use a spool of filament. So I don't know, we'll see. We'll maybe post that in another video, the continuation of high flow PET G from Bambu. We'll get back to this in a second, as soon as, well, not really a second. This is going to be a couple hours. It'll be just a second for you. Once these other parts make, and we'll see how this thing works. Alright, so those are done. We got this guy in here now. Now we've got feet. Let's see if we can pop these off of here. We're one step closer to being able to use this thing. So now we just got to put a spool in here. Alright, we are all set up. We've got our roll there, and we started rolling here. I had a little bit of a hard time just getting it started, but there we go. So the only thing is I need to get something to hold it down, because it moves around really easily. And the other thing is that there's no brake on this. So when it spools, see, it just keeps rolling and then it gets all loose in here. But other than that, it actually works, and it works quite well. So now I can separate my spools into two spools, so I can get two printers printing from the same spool basically, just by turning this, and everything goes onto the other one. And then of course, like I said, you can take that off, and then we've got this little hole here that we can hook up a drill, and it'll just speed do it like really fast. And that's if I was going to transfer, I think, the whole roll, but I'm only going to put so much on there because I want to be able to print with that same stuff on 2 different printers. And it'll definitely come in handy too, because like for instance, even these rolls, they don't fit that. So you can see I had to make an adapter for this one, right? So I'm just gonna hold on to my Bambu rolls and reuse those. I think I have one here somewhere. I should just use it. But anyway, there it is. Not much of a demonstration, but he actually, if you go check it out on Maker World, he actually, I guess he has this thing secured down somehow, you know, and then he does and shows you how to roll it on, and also hooks up a drill to it, and you can see how that functions too. But this just at least shows I printed his design, and it does in fact work really well. Everything, all the pieces fit perfectly, right, tolerance wise and everything. This was all printed with no support, except for the only thing that needed support was that little guide in there, right, which I still have to put that tubing in, or when it goes through, it's just going to wear that out. But that's the only thing that needed support. Everything else printed as is. On this side here, so I think this is where I messed up. I'm not sure. I have to look at these things here, these spacers. I think they're just if you're going to be, I think this is where I messed up here, these spacers. I think that's only if you're coming off of small, like the little mini wheels maybe. I shouldn't have put them in here, because this thing up here, when it gets to here, it doesn't want to go all the way over, because it's not, this here has to come out, I think. And then these are just like little clips. He's got, the shafts are notched, and then these just click on. I did this all out of PET G as well, so I figured it has that extra durability, and it also has a bit of flexibility. So when it comes to these things, right, they're gonna flex and snap on rather than just break on you. So definitely want to do a little bit of. That's not bad. Like that's not bad. That's the only big overhang, I guess, really. But if you think it's building out like this, so this is really, it's nothing. I can just scrape that off. But you can see all the little holes. They actually turned out really well. And that was the feet I just printed. It's very cool. And that was printed all on the little guy and its bigger brother with the AMS there. That's the PET G that I used right there. So until next time, just a short little video on something cool that I printed. Thanks a lot for making this. It makes life easy for me too. Awesome functional part. Thanks. Catch you around the next time.